working. Great. So, hello everyone. I'm Mihaela Roxana. Very excited to have this conversation with you today. And, especially on how we can use some ways in which we can have AI introduced into our everyday tasks, so to say. I'm very sorry that I can't join you in the room. I joined this conference, I think it was 2 years ago, and it was very fun. So I'm sure that the vibe is amazing, although I can't hear anything from the room right now. So yeah, from time to time, you just give me a thumbs up if if everything is okay and if you're still enjoying our discussion. So a little bit about myself. I'm a speaker at conferences and all sorts of events when I'm not doing my day-to-day job as a technical lead at Signal Health. And when I'm not doing anything tech-related, I also like to, read, do some blogging. I'm using Medium from time to time when I feel that I have something to share. And also disconnecting completely from the tech world through all sorts of activities, outdoor activities like hiking and cycling and things like this. Not at the moment, but yeah, mostly I've been more active during the summer. Hopefully, I'll get back to it soon. So, about today's discussion, first of all, I would like to tell you that I know there probably it's been a long day with a lot of information, so I'll try to make this as smooth as possible. And even though I can see you very clearly and we can have a proper conversation, still I'm going to ask you maybe from time to time to raise a hand for me to see what's how are you using maybe some tools, or what is your experience with using these tools. So hand raise, it would be great to use. And my objective for today is for us to dive into an exciting topic. It's on everyone's lips right now. Yeah, the way that it's reshaping the world of software development. And yeah, we are discussing about AI and its inner workings. That represents a huge subject that, to take it very into details, it would mean that we have to stay here and talk for days. So we are just going to touch the surface by looking at how we can use tools like ChatGPT and Copilot in this situation. There are examples, there are many other tools out there, but are the ones that, at least from in my experience, have fitted the best the work that I've been doing. I've experimented the most with them, so I feel that I can share more on this. But the concept is generally the same when it comes to these tools that are supposed to help us in the software development field, and not only, as you are going to see in our conversation today. What this presentation is not, I think this is, since we were discussing about this being a topic of, a lot of discovery still to be done, and maybe some controversy around it, because there are a lot of, predictions about it and suppositions and so on. Well, this presentation is not going to, discuss these extremes. We are not going to say what is good, what is bad. We are not going to try to predict the future. And you're going to see that we are indeed going to touch some myths about this and things that, at least for now, are still to be discussed. But this conversation that we are having today is not about confirming or canceling other points of view. It's a neutral overview on some tools that, in some cases can help if used correctly, if used mindful, and if used in an informed way. Of course, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, maybe things are going to evolve in a different direction. It's still something that, it's evolving a lot. So we are experimenting with it, seeing what is happening, how things are evolving. But this is a conversation about how we can use these tools the most, and how we can maybe switch a bit the mindset that we're having about development when discussing how to integrate AI into our day-to-day work. And as I was saying, I would really like to ask you to raise your hand and let me know how many of you have been used already into your, let's say, first into your personal project, or in your work you've been interested in using ChatGPT, Copilot, any tool that it's AI, working with AI behind it. And okay, we have some nice. So I see this as a very good, although I'm not in the room. Maybe after the conversation that we are going to have it, you can use this as a starter for a networking session, afterwards, while having, I don't know, a beer, a glass of wine, and so on. So yeah, I see a lot of hands raised, so this is good. How many of you are using it into a production project, like in your work with your company, maybe actually with code that is going to production? Okay, so less hands. So we are saying that, okay, we are still to discover how things are working into this, and how we can, if we can actually trust it with the code that we are writing day to day. So I love to see that you're open to this, and I'm sure that you're going to have a very good impact in your companies if trying to get this into your day-to-day work at your job. Okay. Well, as you've been raising your hands, and also by looking at the situation that we are having into the room, we can say that, okay, AI is significantly impacting various aspects of software and technology, right? Either if it's into our work, or if it's in just our personal project, or if we're just, using it to help us write an email, or to do our resume, or anything of this kind. So AI doesn't seem to be just a trend. It seems like it's going to change the game. It's just not clear exactly in which ways. We have some hints, but not really sure exactly how things are going to evolve, right? What we know is, or at least what we've been able to see until now, is that enhances productivity. It comes in helping us reduce repetitive tasks, opens up possibilities we couldn't imagine that could be done, I don't know, some years ago, a decade ago, to say, yeah. So we never thought that we are going to have something that is going to make maybe these repetitive tasks for us, so that we can focus on the more interesting parts of software development. Also consider how much we are spending into debugging, writing maybe boilerplate code, or just brainstorming solutions, because this is not only about using it into code, although we are focusing on this, as we are developers, we are focusing on this. But it can also help us with finding some solutions that are not only in the coding part, but maybe in software design, in software architecture, maybe trying to learn something new, like trying to refresh our information, our knowledge that we are having at this moment. So AI can make these processes faster, help us, and inspiring more, and help us with creativity in some ways, giving us some hints on some areas. Also keep in mind that things are not black or white, as I was saying before. What it promises and what the general feedback is by now is this, that helps us with the productivity and the processes and so on. And it is a new way of doing things that we continuously discover, and maybe we don't have enough diverse data to make clear assumptions. But what we know for now is this, right? That AI does repetitive tasks, which allows developers to focus on the more creative work. That is reducing mistakes, when it comes to the human error. Well, AI reduces this kind of human error, making software more reliable, at least on the we are thinking on this the general tasks. We are going to discuss also about more complex tasks and how to use it, but generally this is what AI is giving back, right? Tools that enhance our work. Then it has some algorithms that are great at solving problems and determining some patterns into data. On the other side, they are also driving innovation in tech. Because while we are not anymore focusing on these repetitive tasks, we can focus on actually, learning more complex, interesting concepts that we can introduce into our applications. Also helps us see, okay, how we can maybe bring more performance into our software. Security, find all sorts of solutions that maybe in the group that we are having, in the team that we are working with, we don't have enough data to actually come up with this kind of information. So it can help us with actually giving some hints in this area. Then we are discussing about development tools, right? And this is the area that we are going to take a peek today, with tools like Copilot and ChatGPT that are helping us, that are promising to help us making work more efficient and provide a better collaboration, because they are promoted or presented as your fellow pair programmer. We are going to discuss also about the approach in this side, but basically it helps us with making things easier for our day-to-day work. And I was mentioning before that we are not going to touch this very gray area, very black or white, so extremes, but it's good for us to stop for a moment and think about how things are evolving. Look at the scene that we are having right now and address some maybe common misconceptions that at this point in time can either keep us away from this kind of tools, from experimenting and transforming our workflows, or on the other side, actually going too confidently into them, right? I know that our situations and scenarios actually, working in this environment and having most of your friends working in software development brings a lot of information about how different companies, how different teams are actually working with this. So I'm getting everyday discussions about AI I have around me. And I know real situations where, people are just confidently going into this and, actually trying to get the most of it and see how much this can bring. And on the other side, having teams and companies that are very, trying to understand how safe this is, how it's going to impact the work that they are doing, their workflows, and so on. So there are still some misconceptions and things that are keeping us away or too close from this. And one of them, I think the most common, is the fact that AI is going to replace human developers completely. Please raise your hand if you think that you're not going to have a job in 5 years anymore. Okay, it's good. We are going to have a job in this room. I love the confidence. And indeed, as I'm going to suppose you're seeing things also, I see AI as a tool, not as a replacement, because it can assist us. It can enhance our development experience, but we have some things that still AI is not able to replicate, which is creativity, the way we are looking at problems and trying to find solutions, and the expertise that we've been gaining, with the intuition and everything. What makes us human still remain essential. So from this perspective, we are still good to go. I think it was a joke at some point. Someone was saying, okay, if AI wants to replace developers, I invite them to try to, understand the requirements that my clients are having and then translate them into code. Good luck with that, AI. This is exactly what I think it's happening. It's still something that needs more than just some algorithms that are working behind. Okay, then the other misconception is that AI can solve all bugs and issues automatically. And not only this, but you can just press a button, give it some input, press a button, and then you are going to get exactly what you need. No less, no more than just that. And also something that is very, very good, very production ready, if we can say like this. Well, for reliable results, AI models need constant monitoring. They need refinement and adjustments and refactoring from our side. So we have to be very careful with the unexpected outputs and the biases that we are getting from that, and actually validate that content. So you can just take it, out of the tool and just put it into production and call it a day. Then another one, it was that AI is always the best solution. So when in doubt, just go with AI. Well, it's not a one-size-fits-all tool. Traditional approaches are often more efficient and more cost-effective for many problems. And we can think about situations where, let's say, when we need to understand the context of our product, understand what are the costs, what is the learning curve that we need. So not all the time we need an AI tool to help us. Maybe things are very straightforward and you don't need that extra help that you're getting from this. So, and to this we can add a lot of other misconceptions. I'm sure that you've also heard a lot in your experience, but understanding or being able to see this type of misconception coming gives us a more realistic view on what AI can and cannot do. Because having this kind of clarity and actually looking at things from a critical point of view, with looking at both positive outcomes and also negative or things that might slow us down, is going to help us actually use it in the end only in the areas where we need it. Then by understanding its limitations, we can actually use its strength, and use it in the areas where it's the most powerful. And of course, integrating it in ways that truly enhance our work and not just because it's fancy. I am actually totally against going with the latest tool because, it's something that everyone is promoting at the time. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not getting very excited about the new tool, but I'm not ignoring it either. So I try to just draw my own conclusions and see exactly how I feel about that in the context that I'm having of my product, of the work that I'm doing, and so on. So let's start with the first one, with ChatGPT. That it is defined as a useful AI tool, an assistant, basically, that can understand and create text like a human. And of course, it is helpful in tasks as coding, writing documentation, writing codes, writing tests, solving problems, automation, and so on. But at the same time, we can go outside of this sphere and actually using it also for understanding maybe how some things are working, just asking a question about something that we are not sure about, or asking it to help us provide feedback to a colleague without hurting their feelings. So it goes in a very, very wide spectrum of tasks that it can do. Of course, if we're discussing development, the strength is in providing code suggestions. It can generate code snippets in different programming languages. It can successfully write unit tests, can explain all sorts of programming concepts, makes it easier for us to learn new languages or break down complicated algorithms. I think that maybe one thing that it's particularly interesting is that it supports developers in creating custom tools and writing all sorts of specific solutions if we are giving the right context and actually know how to make it a valuable partner. And we are going to discuss in a few minutes how we can do this. But integrating ChatGPT in your workflow can improve from efficiency to solving some problems faster to as we were talking before, giving more time for creative and more strategic work if this is something that you are interested in and willing to learn. I'm saying this because I also know people that like and are very, very focused on doing everything in their code by themselves. They don't need help. They just enjoy writing those very specific functions, doing it, knowing that they are doing it from zero, everything, which is also fine as soon as they are productive and happy at the same time. It's just great. Then on the other side, we have GitHub Copilot, right? It's basically, we can strip it down of the name and just say that it's a tool that helps us write code faster, because it acts like someone that, it's still a partner, a valuable partner, but it's someone that it's writing code alongside in our IDE. So it offers suggestions based on the work that we are having in real time by looking at our current code. It includes it gives us from imports to variable names to comments to guessing what you want to say next. So this helps us stay focused and efficient. Also, you're going to see, and I'm going to show you an example in a bit, on how it can get very annoying, especially when you're not giving it a lot of context and you have very few files to work with. It's just, it's becoming stuck. So I think in this part is something that we need to do, which is learn how to educate the tool and not have those expectations, the myths that we are discussing before regarding, okay, I'm just putting this tool into work and it's going to do the great work. No, it needs education. It needs to be educated into adjust to the context of the product that we are having, the files that we are using. And why I'm saying this, when you use Copilot and start typing either code or comments, it looks, at, okay, what code have you been writing so far? It tries to understand how your code is structured, the syntax that you're using, the functions and variables that you're having in your project. So basically it's looking, okay, first it's looking into the file that you have open and says, okay, let's see, what are the naming things that the way we are naming things. If there are some specific comments that maybe are explaining what is happening in the code base, that maybe it's giving some instruction, seeing if there is any top level comment that actually is going to give an overview on what is this file supposed to do, what is the scope of this file. On the sample code that we are having, of course, it's analyzing exactly how we are doing things. And then it goes to the other files and doing this over and over again. An interesting part on this is the fact that it's working exactly how we are working, for example, when we are solving a bug. So when you have a bug in your code, you just start by, okay, this is in the, let's say, login page, right? So I'm going into that module and I'm opening, a file where I know that this might have something to do. And I start exploring. As I'm exploring, I'm opening another file and another file, just to create a path of where the bug might be locating. Well, it takes this context, the context that we are working with at that moment, and it's, it's try to understand what you want to achieve with your code, of course, and its underlying model that uses the GitHub knowledge graph it's actually helping it and us in the end to see how similar coding problems have been solved in the million of repositories where it has been trained. So the suggestions that you get come from various analysis and are designed to fit in your existing code, by becoming as specific as possible as it goes into your context. So you can say that that's why it's more than just an autocomplete tool. It has some patterns that it's respecting, and that's just going to give you some suggestions, and that's it. It acts as a pair programming, that combines the knowledge from its wide networks of code repositories and the very specific context of your local code. And of course, the understanding of programming languages to help developers code more effectively, more efficiently, productively, as we were saying today a bit before. Also is something that so it's not only giving us pure code, but also it's explaining some concepts. You can ask it to write unit tests. It has actually some commands that you can use in order to be even more productive. Like, you don't have to write that prompt and so on, but more like just go into the chat that it has into the IDE and just see what you can find helpful in there. And since we are discussing about what it can do, and we've been discussing a lot about how it can work, and I was mentioning the chat, let's do a little trick. I was telling you before that we are going to see how it can be annoying. So I have in here a very minimal code base, if we can tell it like this. You might be wondering, okay, Mihaela, but why are you presenting something that's annoying? Like, why are you starting with this and not starting with the positive demo where everything works okay and everything is just fine? All because I'm not here to create false expectations. I don't want to do this with you. And I'm sure that you've been already having an idea about how these tools are working, and you are also annoyed by some things. It's important for us to use tools in a realistic way. There is this concept of actually understanding the context that we are working with or that we are in before actually making a decision about whatever we need to make a decision. And the most frequently, I see this when we are choosing in software development. I see it when we are choosing a new technology for our products. I think that some years ago we had that which programming language is better? What technology? Is it .NET? Is it Java? Or then we had also in the front end, because we need this kind of drama in every area. So we had, okay, it's React, no, it's Angular, it's better, it's doing things like this and like this. The best for what? This is always my question. When we are saying that the tool is the best for what? The best for your product, maybe the best for what you've been experimenting with, the best for the needs that you're having in your product, right? So it's not only about a general the best, but more like seeing exactly how it fits into your product, asking the right questions, seeing the context, the learning curve. For example, I saw many hands raised, and if there are people in this room that have been using a Copilot, I'm not going to give them another solution just because someone says, if I'm working on a product with them, I'm not just going to give a completely new solution because someone says that it's fancier. I know that for the context of this product, this tool specifically primarily has a smaller learning curve because people are already familiar with it. And this goes in every situation. So just to give you a bit of context, going back to our presentation, I'm closing the parenthesis about this. Well, we can see that we have some commands that Copilot is giving, and we see the chat that I was mentioning before, where we can see all sorts of commands. Yeah, so we don't have to write a specific command. Okay, write some tests for and so on. I'm just explain, and then let's say explain HTTP. Yes. Let's see in the context of. Right, and since I wasn't very specific about what I want, it's just giving me a general on how I can integrate something that is using HTTP into my code, right? Also, I can, for example, let's say that I wanted to, this is the render method. Yes, you can put it like this, but this is not what I was trying to ask. I was trying to ask, okay, create a constructor. Let's see, great. So it creates a construct. This is a basic example of supposition. So since I don't have a lot of information, it's going to take the context of my very basic application and be like, okay, it seems like this class component needs a constructor. But no, what I wanted is to create a method that is doing, let's see, and it's not that quick as before. Let's see if it, yes, on an array. Let's see if it's responding. So since it does not have a lot of context, as you can see, the answer is not the same as it was before. But there's no problem because we have this little chat in here, and we can ask it to create it. Let's see, generating. It's still confused, as you can see, taking longer than when I asked it to generate the constructor, but still is doing something. Okay, so it's giving us this suggestion, right? Great. Let's go in here and replace it. Then let's say, okay, for this function that we are having right now, modify using Copilot, and I would just like it to generate a test. Yes, I would like them to be set up. So then it's giving me all sorts of ideas. So you can work with it like this, but then again, you need to actually correct it, know how to ask things, know how to go further into integrating it into your workspace. Okay, and in the same way, we can do refactoring, asking it to refactor some of the code, ask it to improve some of the quality. For example, let's use for this next example the ChatGPT that it's going to, for example, I'm going to give it as a context, create the binary search method as you would be someone that is just learning programming. So first is giving the explanation, the steps for doing this, and it's giving us a code example in Python. So this is the default. Convert the code from Python to JavaScript. Yes, thank you. And then it's giving us a result in JavaScript, working with this how we can work with this, how we can call the function, and so on. So this is just the touching the surface of how we can work with this. I think the complexity of these tools, as we are looking at this, it might seem like, yeah, this is something very simple. You just write something, you're asking it when you don't know how to use a certain information or a certain part of the code, and that's that. But for example, you can use, as it comes for Copilot, you can use it to give you more information if you are a new developer in a new team. It can give you more information about what the product is doing, what you can, where you can find a certain piece of code, help you actually get familiar with the project or the new task that you are trying to do or to understand. And besides, I think when it comes to these tools, the hard part is not writing, and asking things from it, because you can have all sorts of scenarios and maybe best practices and so on. But I think one of the things that we need to keep in mind is how to use. So first of all, I think it's important for us to set some very clear goals on how we are going to use AI before starting and using it. What do you want to achieve? You want to speed up tasks, you want to improve code quality, explore new ideas, what exactly you want to do, so that you can set the right expectations, because these tools work best for repetitive tasks, as we are saying, unit tests, boilerplate, repetitive functions, and so on. Then don't look at these suggestions that is giving as the right thing to do things, but more like see them as starting points. It's not always going to give the best. It's going to take some time until it is adjusting to your code base. So don't expect perfect solutions. See everything that these tools are giving you at this point as a starting point. Think of AI as a helper, not as a replacement, as we were discussing before. Then train your team or train yourself on a daily basis. Do knowledge sharing, trying to understand how things are working, what is happening with the feedback, what are some best practices that others have been using in your code base and had better results. Use it for testing and debugging. It can help you test and debug your code. It can help you actually do some code reviews for your code. See exactly what is the feedback that is giving. Maybe you and your team are being biased on your code, and maybe you don't see the best solutions, or you don't have the best suggestions for each other to challenge for each other at some point. You feel like, okay, I'm doing these repetitive things. It seems like I'm writing the same code, so it's not really interesting for me. It might help you learn something or look at things from another perspective. And something that I wanted to, of course, beside experimenting and seeing what we can do, and be very careful how you're using it, and the copyright of the material that you are using, and so on. Something that I really want us to touch, it's the prompt engineering and the part where we iterate and adapt. In order to become efficient with this and resolve complex problems and have all the benefits, it is useful to understand how to communicate with AI in order to get the best. And communicating is something that we are doing since forever, but still, it seems that AI right now is showing us that we are not very good at it, and we actually need to engineer it in order to have the best results. Because when you're discussing with a person, maybe you're already having a way of reporting to each other, right? And you understand, even if they are using not the best words or not the most explicit ways, you can still understand that person. You're familiar with them, you can understand. When it comes to these tools, they need to be provided with clear information, because this is an entire process of giving some input and getting a specific response from that. And this is something that we need to iterate on.
we need to give very clear instructions. For example, I told it before, explain HTTP to me, and it asked more context, right? It asked, okay, in this file maybe, and then it gave this general explanation. If I go in more specific things, as I was asking, okay, I am someone that doesn't know programming. I'm learning right now. Give me this function. Then it went with more specific information, like explanations, why that function is being done in a certain way, and so on. So give clear instructions, give it the context and a persona, then give it the output format. You want it maybe in JavaScript, you want it in French. What is exactly the output that you want this information, this output to come to you? Maybe you want it to be in a JSON format, depending on what you're using. Be very specific about this. Iterate on and on until you're getting how it works and how you can get the best results. And you're going to see that in time, you're going to get familiar with this and actually doing it naturally, asking information naturally. And always learn from responses. See where it has problems giving an answer, iterate. And if you see that if you're going into this loop and not getting any of the information that you want, try to change the approach. Try to ask it from another perspective, see what is happening. While doing this exercise in the beginning, when I started playing with this, I realized that it's teaching me to be more patient. And I also realized that maybe we needed a tool like this to help us have more patience with also the people that we have around and actually be more clear in our explanation. So I think it's a good training also for us and the interactions that we have with other people, with the people that we are working and so on. So not enough time to go into all that these tools have to offer and how we can use them in different scenarios, but it's fascinating to see how these are becoming increasingly integrated and essential in software. But not only in software, as I was saying, you can use it for a variety of tasks. I've been using it actually to give me an itinerary of a trip that I had in the summer. So, you can do from boosting creativity in your work to actually planning your next vacation. The potential of AI in software, it's very big, and I'm sure that in the next years we are going to see more and more opportunities for innovation and efficiency in this. And as we progress, we must see that these tools are something that we need to use responsibly and ethically, and ensure that the future we create with AI is beneficial for everyone. Of course, it's a small step that we can do, but how you do anything, you do everything. So in each of the work that we are doing, let's just keep this in mind and use it mindful and responsibly. I hope that I was able to give an overview maybe for the ones that did not use it, and maybe give some courage for the ones that want to integrate it in their project, and maybe had something to something new to learn or to pitch it to your company or to your managers. Thank you once again for joining me in this session, and I hope that we can maybe get some questions if there is still time. If not, you can reach out to me. This is my contact information. Let's discuss more, because this is a topic that needs a lot of conversation and discussions. Thank you very much, and I hope that you had a great conference day.